Hey there, Virgo. Welcome to your reading for the next 3 months. This is going to be January, February, March of 2026. You have this sudden wealth card. It says big financial gain, winnings, monetary gift, financial success. Love it. You have this playmate. It says player, playing games, not serious, informal, recreation, sexual partner, hidden benefits, fun activities. Your first row is going to represent how you can have the best start to this quarter in 2026. And so each row is going to represent something different. You have the Nine of Pentacles, which is amazing for building wealth, of course. So, and the Page of Pentacles is also actually pretty good. So, Page of Pentacles is usually like starting something new, or working in a new direction. As I always say to you, Virgo, I don't think your energy is a little bit different to me than everybody else, like except for Aries maybe. But what I would say is that, so if you have Aries in your chart, this is going to be extra true for you, Virgo. But what I would say is that I don't necessarily think that Virgos need to like make this big sweeping change. It seems to me like all the other signs, could be some people of the other signs could be making like much, much bigger changes. For you, I think it's more important to upgrade, for you, it's like you don't necessarily have to like quit your job or, move to another country. You could if you want to, of course, do it. But you don't have to, is what I'm trying to say. And so Nine of Pentacles is about creating heaven on earth. Again, your first row is going to represent how you can have the best start to 2026, to the first quarter. And so Nine of Pentacles, again, is heaven on earth. She doesn't necessarily have heaven on earth, but she does things to create heaven on earth, right? So it's about the actions you take to make your life more worth living. And I would be thinking about that. What would make your life better, even if it's not great? It's we all have to start somewhere. There's no shame in starting small. So even if you have to start small, that's what I would be thinking about. She also has these grapes behind her, and as with most of your readings, I've noticed that a lot of your readings talk about the skills that you have, Virgo, and you also have the Judgment card here. I'm pretty sure I said this to you in 2025. It just seems to me like you could be using a skill that you haven't been using, or it's like maybe you have been using it, but you've been hiding it, or maybe it's something that you quit a long time ago. I'm trying to give you ideas on like where to look in your life, right? But I think you have a skill that, and this seems to me like it's a skill that could be applied to a lot of things. It's like, I don't really have a good example, but it's like if you're funny, right? It's like that your humor can be applied and can be beneficial to many different things, not just business, but, can help you in other areas of life as well. It's like there's something about you that, and I don't know, you're all different, right? So you're going to have to think about yourself. And it's like, what part of you do you hide? Or maybe you don't hide it, but maybe you just don't highlight it as much as you should. And that's what I would be thinking about with the Nine of Pentacles. I would also be thinking about how you can apply it in different situations. I know that's not much of a message, but I do think it would be very helpful. You have the Page of Pentacles, again, starting something new. I feel it's more like you're breathing new life into something. Like I said, it's like you're upgrading something that you've already been doing. This could be it could be financial for sure, for obvious reasons. You have that sudden wealth card, Nine of Pentacles, Ten of Pentacles, amazing money cards here. And, it's like you're kind of breathing life into something again, or maybe you're like revitalizing it. It's like you're kind of, reworking something, and whatever that is. I think that could be an amazing opportunity, definitely something amazing that you could be doing this year, and I feel could bring a lot of wealth, so I would do it. You have the Strength card. I think a lot of people are going to get the Strength card at the beginning of the year here, because this is definitely a year where we have to listen to ourselves. The Strength card, this lion represents her inner voice, and so I feel one of the biggest stumbling blocks that could come up for people in 2026 is listening to the devil on their shoulder, right? Listening to that voice that tells you can't do something, or you're not strong enough, or you're too weak, or whatever. And again, the solution is very simple. She is controlling her inner voice, but it's something she has to do every single day. She has to take control of that lion and make sure that she's only listening to the words that she wants to hear, right? She's listening to things that make her feel strong inside her own head. And I definitely feel that will kind of like set you up for the rest of the year if you start working on this now. Like even now, today, this video will be published on the 27th of December. I'm recording it on the 26th of December. So, definitely something to think about for sure. With the Nine of Pentacles, you have the Four of Pentacles, so, holding on too tightly to something right now. He's not really hiding something, but he's just like, he's not taking any risks or big enough risks to matter, right? That is the thing. He's kind of the card of playing it too safe. He's just doing enough, or he's staying in a situation that he thinks is keeping him safe, but really it isn't. And so I would think about that, like, how can you take bigger risks to stand out? I've been telling everyone, with Uranus and Gemini, we have to stick out like a sore thumb, in a good way. You have to stick out for your uniqueness in all areas of life, not just work or money or business, but for love, for, everything else. And, that's what I would be thinking about is like, where are you playing it safe? Where are you holding back, right? With the Page of Pentacles, you have the Knight of Swords. I actually feel pretty good about this Knight of Swords. I'm not the biggest fan of the Knight of Swords. He's rushing. He's kind of being too hasty. He's jumping to conclusions. He's doing those bad things. But I feel pretty good about it here. With the Page of Pentacles is also a little bit slow. He's too fast. The Page of Pentacles is a little bit too slow. So you're kind of mixing the two together. And maybe you're not rushing, is what I'm trying to say here, Virgo, or you are taking your time, which is good. But I also feel you have the King of Swords and Ace of Swords, which is amazing for information rushing into your head. So, again, you could be getting a lot of good information, or, you could be downloading a lot of good information from the universe. It is a very intuitive year. Again, Uranus and Gemini is like your brain is on fire. You're just downloading information, a lot of mental activity with Uranus and Gemini, so it makes sense. With the Strength card, you have the Queen of Pentacles. Yeah, Queen of Pentacles does what she can with what she's got. That's like another form of strength. She might not have the money she needs to take advantage of an opportunity or to make something happen in her life, but she's going to get started anyway, no matter what. So, that is also a theme that has come up for people quite a bit this year. And I think it will probably continue into 2026, that we need to get started no matter what, and that's it. Next, we're going to look at what is the best opportunity for you this quarter. And you have this New Life card, which is great. You have this Chop Wood card, which is great. Like I said, I think the Nine of Pentacles makes a lot of sense with the reading. It just fits in very well with everything that's coming up. And like I said, the Nine of Pentacles is about creating heaven on earth, which could be a new life for you, Virgo. And the Chop Wood card just wants you to get to work on creating that new life that you desire. So if there are things that aren't perfect, or if there are things that aren't going how you want them to, it would be a good time to work on those things. You have the King of Swords, the Ace of Swords, and the Judgment card. King of Swords is a card of knowledge and wisdom, or needing to trust your knowledge and wisdom, basically, or needing to trust what you already know. He does things based off of experience. He probably is the king that has been through the most war, for example, and so he knows like what to do. And I feel that the reading itself is saying you need to combine your like wisdom with upgrades or something like that. It's like you already, I think you have a good handle on the basics. Four of Pentacles. Four of Pentacles isn't all bad. He does have a solid foundation. So it's basically saying, the basics of whatever it is that you're about to do in your life, which is more than enough. You can learn what you don't know later. And, it's almost like he's encouraging you to get started in this reading. The other thing is, again, we're looking for the best opportunity here in this row. And the King of Swords is an amazing opportunity to learn from a mentor. And so this doesn't have to be a man. It could be any gender, could be any person, and the person doesn't even have to be alive. The King of Swords could be a person like you could read their books. There are people I watch on YouTube that are dead, right? So again, it's about like finding a person or even a group of people. I'm a big fan of having a tribe of mentors. I think it's Tim Ferriss that came up with that, which is you just have a group of people you follow where you take their advice and you try it, right? And so doing that could be a really solid opportunity. You have the Ace of Swords, which is like a solid opportunity for a victory. So there could be a victory coming in for you. The trick with the Ace of Swords is usually we have to cut something out. we have this palm frond here, and we have this olive branch over here. The palm fronds in the tarot can represent a sacrifice. The olive branch is like an offer of peace or abundance. So there might be an opportunity for you to like cut one thing out of your life to give yourself more time, is what I feel. And that could lead to a big victory. The Ace of Swords also is about easily overcoming an obstacle. The sword is above the mountains. So if there are any obstacles that you've been dealing with, it's like sometimes we have to be brave enough to climb the mountain, the mountains here on the card to have the victory. But Ace of Swords is like an easy victory. So it's like maybe what you don't realize is that there's an obstacle in front of you, but maybe there is a road up the mountain where you could just drive a car up the mountain. Like it's not going to be hard for you to overcome whatever it is you're trying to overcome. So if there are any challenges in front of you, I would like face those challenges, because there might be an easy solution. And the other thing is that maybe a person has an easy answer to the problem. And so go learn from smart people. You have the Judgment card. Judgment can be a wake-up call, of course. These people are in these coffins. The coffin is their old life. Outside the coffin is their new life. And so you have that card that says new life on it. And I would just answer the call to create your new life here, Virgo. With the King of Swords, you have the World card here. I just wanted to see what else is going on in this reading, but the World can be an accomplishment or an achievement. The Ace of Swords is an accomplishment or an achievement. I'm pretty sure I said to you in your 2026 reading, the yearly reading that I did, that it might be a good year for you to like make sure you're starting off on the right foot. And what I mean by that is like, how can you have a victory today? Today, again, I'm recording this on the 26th. It'll be published on the 27th. If you're watching it on the 27th, 28th, 29th, 30th, or the 31st, can you have a victory today? Doesn't have to be something amazing. It could be something very small. But I would like start stacking those victories right now, because I feel that it could set you up for a really good year. With the Ace of Swords, you have the Five of Swords. You've had something coming up in 2025, into 2024, into 2025. You've had something about like some sort of, difficulty or issue that you've dealt with. I don't know. There's something about your readings that really tell me that you're about to get some karma, like positive karma, based off of some sort of battle that you've been through, Virgo. So again, if you've had, it's probably involving other people. You have the Five of Swords and the Five of Wands. So if you have had some sort of issue or battle or challenge with other people, I don't know. I can't really explain it, but I feel like there's some sort of positive karma coming in for you, or it's almost like you're being proven right about something where maybe everybody thought you were wrong. And, I definitely feel that could be happening for you at the beginning of the year. With the Judgment card, yes, you have the Ten of Swords. Yeah, something is dead, done, over with. Very common energy, I think, for an Earth sign to be getting at this time, because we had Pluto in Capricorn for 20 years, right? Obviously Pluto moved into Aquarius officially in 2025 to stay. It's never going to go back to Capricorn again in our lifetimes. And so, what I would say is I think it's hard for Earth signs, because Pluto and Capricorn, especially when it hits the cusp of Capricorn and Aquarius, it's like the death of establishment. So it's like everybody is being asked to let go of some sort of establishment, but Earth signs are definitely being asked to let go of something that has been a part of your life for a long time. And, it may be a little bit of a comfort zone or something with that Four of Pentacles, right? And so it can be a little bit scary. But at the same time, Ten of Swords is a blessing in disguise. So it says, once you let go, he's making the symbol right here, the same symbol the Hierophant is making on his card. And once he lets go, he gets the victory. Next, we are going to look at the best way for you to set yourself up for success the entire quarter. You have this card that says, it's time to take action. Yes. You have this card that says, nothing is yet set in stone. I think that would be a good motto for you, Virgo, is to set things in stone, right? To take things from the dream world into the real world. And, maybe that's what this is asking you to do. Of course, right at the beginning of the year here, we have, Saturn and Neptune will be moving back into Aries by the middle of February. Neptune first at the end of January, then Saturn February 13th or whatever it is. So, that energy definitely wants us to take action on things that we're wanting to create. You have the Ten of Pentacles, the Four of Pentacles, and the Five of Wands. Ten of Pentacles is everything you want and desire in your life. So I think it's an excellent time for you to work on creating a life that you desire to live, right? Ten of Pentacles is a tree of life. It is everything you want and desire. It's about building and leaving a legacy. We're at the end of Uranus and Taurus. Uranus and Taurus wants us to build and leave a legacy. So obviously this doesn't happen overnight. You have to work, this is something you work on for the rest of your life. But, I feel getting started on working on something that could set you up for a bright future is what the card wants you to do with the Ten of Pentacles. I also feel with the King of Swords, the Ten of Pentacles can sometimes represent information. It can represent getting information from an unlikely source. It can, there's kind of like an alternative meaning to the Ten of Pentacles that represents hidden or secret information. This guy here, normally, the old guy, he is the reason that the card represents an inheritance because he's an old guy. And he is, bringing the inheritance to this family. The alternative meaning to the card is that this family just had a baby, and this old guy represents a beggar, and he is coming and he's bringing the family a gift. And so he represents someone who has nothing to give, who is giving something. And so basically, Ten of Pentacles can represent, like I said, information from an unlikely source. It's like, I don't know, sometimes children say things to us that I think are intuitive, right? But we brush it off because they're children. Sometimes, I've read a bunch of books that if you read them, if you look at the reviews on Amazon, they have terrible reviews. But if you look at the reviews, people are like, the author forgot a comma on page 37 or something like that. And so that means the whole entire book is wrong, right? There's so many books. I can think of one off the top of my head. One Sentence Persuasion, one of my favorite books of all time. Everybody hates on it because the guy is selling something in the book. I didn't buy what the guy was selling, but the book made me a bunch of money. I can tell you that right now. So, that's a great example. Ten of Pentacles says you have to look deeper than just the surface level, right? You have to think about how information applies to your situation. And when you do that, that's where the success comes from. And again, you have that sudden wealth card. So definitely could be sudden wealth. You have the Four of Pentacles, again. So, definitely time to leave a comfort zone. That's, a clear theme in this reading, and that's probably how you're going to set yourself up for bigger successes in 2026. Also, make sure to leave a like, drop a comment. Really helps me out, Virgo. You have the Five of Wands. Five of Wands is conflict and competition. Again, I think it's going to be a very important year for you to study the competition. I think this comes up for you a lot, Virgo. But I would study the competition, see what they're doing, see what they're not doing, and think about how you can stand out above the competition. And, that's really what I would be focusing on with the Five of Wands. It'll probably lead to the most success. With the Ten of Pentacles, you have the High Priestess here. Very intuitive year, really. Anytime Neptune changes signs, it's almost like we're developing a new intuition, kind of. And so, I would be trusting your intuition. I think that Neptune and Aries, which will be at the end of January, is going to be that first gut feeling you have about everything. Aries is kind of like the initiator when we get started on something, right? And so Neptune and Aries, I feel like when we are about to start something, we are going to have a feeling. That is what we need to be trusting, is that first gut, immediate gut instinct on something. And if you listen to that, that could bring in a lot of good opportunity. With the Four of Pentacles, yes, if you want things to change, you have to change them, is what that says, right? Wheel of Fortune is going around in a circle. The Four of Pentacles is stuck in a comfort zone. So personally, of course, I like the Wheel of Fortune. It is a good card, but, the wheel spins in whatever direction it wants. So we have to take control of the wheel, and we have to double down on the things clearly here with the Four of Pentacles that move you closer to your Nine of Pentacles and your Ten of Pentacles. Again, overall, I feel very good about the reading because you have the Nine of Pentacles. The Nine of Pentacles is the vision of heaven on earth. Ten of Pentacles would be like the ultimate vision for your legacy or whatever you want to create. So if you can see it, you can do it, right? And I feel this is saying you need to start doubling down on the steps to get there. With the Five of Wands, you have the King of Cups. Yeah, I would watch out for your emotions this year. There are some things going on that I think could be emotional. The King of Cups is very in control of his emotions, and he's sitting in the middle of the ocean, and he's sitting in these choppy waters, but he is perfectly fine on his face. So it basically says, take control of your emotions so that you can have a good life. Next, in the area of the good stuff, you have this Mercury card. It says messages on it. You have this Ceres card. It says nurture on it. Yeah, a lot of people have already had cards like the Empress and things like that talk about nurturing. It seems to me like it is a good year to nurture the things that you want to see in your life. Definitely a ton of messages. Again, Uranus, is the higher octave of Mercury. Mercury rules Gemini. Uranus loves being in Gemini. The problem with Uranus and Gemini is I think it's going to be a lot of messages, very mentally active, right? So we need to write down the messages, the intuitive hits, the things that we're getting. And I would start now. Yes, I understand that Uranus is not in Gemini right now, but it's already been in there. So we've already gotten a taste of the energy. We need to start working with it before it enters into Gemini. Astrology is like a wave. You want to catch the wave early. That, most people that follow astrology, I think they just let things happen. It's like they're just like, oh, this is happening. So that's why I'm going to get into an accident or something bad is going to happen. It's like, that's not what astrology is about. It's like, I think the problem with tarot and astrology is people look at it as way too predictive. It's like, can it predict things? Sure. Yes. But that's not what it's meant to do. It's meant to be energy that you can work with, right? So work with the energy for sure. You have the Lovers, the Four Swords, and the Knight of Swords. Definitely could be love for those of you that want it. And I don't think I said this, but this row is going to represent how to have the best outcome for the quarter. And the Lovers could be love, but it could also be a choice that you're making. Usually with the Lovers, we should pick the new path. So any new opportunities that are coming your way would be very good. You have the Four Swords. Four Swords can be resting, relaxing, recovering, and healing. There's definitely something about this year that wants us to make sure we have dedicated time for rest. I think because it's going to be a very busy year. We're going from the year of the snake to the year of the horse in the Chinese astrology, in Chinese zodiac or whatever. It's the fire horse as well, right? So very active. We also have Uranus and Gemini, which I think people don't even realize how active that is going to be. And so we need to make sure that we have a practice where that recharges our batteries. I've been telling everyone that's critically important for 2026. Again, this is not a bad thing. This is good because we're going to be getting a lot done, but we just need to make sure. But if we get sick or if we get injured or something, we're not. So I think that's why this keeps coming up. You have the Knight of Swords again, so no rushing. I don't feel bad about the Knight of Swords in your reading. I definitely think there's quick movement. I feel you're focusing on building momentum, which is great. It is a year of momentum, so we definitely should be. But again, I'm if you find yourself getting excited about things and jumping to conclusions or whatever, maybe that would be a good time for you to slow things down. With the Lovers, here you go. You have the Knight of Cups. So definitely, for those of you that are looking for love, definitely could be a solid connection. Knight in shining armor. Could be a water sign. Could be. You also have Earth. Aquarius, Scorpio, Taurus, Leo, and Capricorn kind of stand out to me in this reading. So there you go. With the Four of Swords, you have the Queen of Wands. Yes, everybody needs to march to the beat of their own drum right now. I think that there's a lot of stuff going on that is encouraging people to be authentically themselves. The problem with that is Pluto and Aquarius. Pluto and Aquarius, it's like people will want to join the hive mind. So if you're going against the hive mind, people are going to be like, what are you doing? Why do you have different ideas? Why are you different? Why are you standing out? Your job is to ignore it. With the Knight of Swords, you have the Temperance card. Yeah, slow things down a little bit, right? Temperance is patience. Temperance is about alchemy, turning your situation around in general. I do feel, I never really say that with the Temperance card, but I do feel a little bit of that, alchemy energy where you do have the power to turn things around. You have this January card. There you go. You have this eagle. It says triumph over obstacles. We talked about that with the Ace of Swords. So if there is some sort of obstacle you're facing, I would take care of it right now, before January. But if you wait until January, that's fine too. But again, I would encourage you to start now. You have this bread. It says period of prosperity and abundance. Yes, love it. Sudden wealth, 9 of Pentacles, 10 of Pentacles. Clearly a lot of abundance coming in for you here. You have this bag. It says something important such as a new job or a raise. There's definitely something new work-wise. Again, I think you're leveling up work-wise or business-wise or whatever you do. And, again, it feels very good here, Virgo. You have this beetle. It says good fortune on it. Clearly, it's clear to me that there's like sudden wealth and good fortune or something coming in, Virgo. You have this bear. It says danger, especially in money matters. Yes, if you're making a bunch of money, obviously, which is definitely a possibility if you put the work in, then, don't be spending that money out all over the place. And I would keep it to yourself. Again, I think that 2026 is a good year to keep things to yourself. If you're making a bunch of money, don't tell people. don't let there be signs, right? And, kind of keep it to yourself this year. I think maybe next year's a little bit different. So, I'll say that, but, I would keep it quiet. This looks really good, Virgo. Definitely one of the better readings so far. So thank you for being here. Make sure to leave a comment, and definitely enjoy your month.